Hello and welcome back to Fanboy Explosion. I am Seth Turner.
And I'm Cameron Cook.
And boy, was today crazy. Microsoft went nuts today. We are going to talk about it all right here on the show today. So there's so much to talk about. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to run down this list and just kind of go over what was announced, and then we'll kind of go back and hit some touch points that we want to. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Awesome. So the entire event today kind of focused around Windows 10, which is their Microsoft's next major operating system update. And needless to say, if you want to summarize it, they're moving Windows away from being an operating system to being a full-on like service. So they started off talking about the PC platform. Really cool announcement. It's going to be a free upgrade for the first year to everyone who owns Windows 7 and Windows 8. So that's going to be awesome. They're going to be unifying the App Store. It's going to be the same operating system running on phones, tablets, computers, even the Xbox, and bigger screens than that. So some really exciting stuff there. Cortana was kind of the first thing that was featured in the show. They've talked about Cortana before, but Cortana is kind of like Siri if you have an iPhone, or Google Now if you have an Android device. You can talk to it, kind of get feedback. It'll do stuff for you, get you information from the web, all powered by Bing, everyone's favorite search engine, right? Anyways, so anyways, they talked about the
that
Xbox.
Silence was intentional.
Yes, it was. So the Xbox app was also announced there. We're definitely going to dig into that a little bit later. And then and then Phil came up and things just went crazy. All right.
Phil who?
Mr. Phil Spencer. Let me just take a moment here to talk about Phil Spencer, because if you don't, even if you're not a huge fan of Microsoft, you should be a huge fan of Phil Spencer. I actually tweeted some quotes from him today. One of the ones, like, this was one of his first quotes he said, and he said that all of the, and I'm sorry, I may not get this exactly right, but all of the experience should be central, like should focus on the gamer. And I was just like, man, you want to talk about a guy you want at your back is someone who says, we're going to make a new operating system and we're going to make sure that every experience on this operating system is focused on gaming. I'm like, what? This is coming from the company that most people think is the business, like the business powerhouse of the tech industry, and he says that gamers are their central focus when designing a lot of this stuff. So something awesome's going on over in Microsoft.
Well, I mean, PC has always been a vital part of gaming. I mean, games have always thrived on the PC platform and on Windows, unlike the Mac, which doesn't support as much stuff, and Mac gaming never really caught on. So, I mean, it's been a huge part of their history, and I'm glad to see that they're maybe trying to support it a little more. I mean, they have tried to in the past, but with varying amounts of success, if we'll remember Windows Live.
Yeah, Games for Windows Live.
Games for Windows Live, which was probably the biggest train wreck you could imagine. But yeah, I'm glad they're moving forward. What else happened today? So
they also announced some really next generation type of things. HoloLens, holographic technology, which that's something that I'm excited to talk about a little bit later as well.
Now that's like a headset, right?
Yeah, it's like a headset that's
like
augments
bigger.
reality.
It's like fat Google Glass, right?
Yeah, it's like I mean, I wouldn't compare it to Google Glass because it's so much bigger and bulkier. But
it's not as big as like the Oculus Rift.
It's not that big.
It's like an in-between.
Yeah, it's about an in-between, but it's definitely a totally different focus, more on augmented reality rather than virtual reality. So a lot of people have been wondering what Microsoft's move was going to be in that field, and they were very clear as to what it was going to be today, and it is 100% different than what the competitors are doing right now. So that is definitely something we'll be talking about a little bit later. But let's talk first about one of the most shocking yet delightful things that happened today when our good friend... Now, if you don't know who Phil Spencer is, he is the head of Xbox, and he walked out on stage today wearing a shirt that many were not able to immediately identify, but it was in fact a Battletoads t-shirt. What are your thoughts?
Well, when I first saw, I have made it a habit to always stare at Phil Spencer's shirts. That sounds kind of weird. But every time he comes out in a press conference, you know, he likes to support the different developers. I mean, he's worn t-shirts for games that I don't even think are necessarily like on the Xbox platform. I think he's worn, well, Limbo. I know he remember he was a big supporter of Limbo. He wore like developer shirt for that.
I even saw his avatar is wearing the Limbo shirt like on Xbox.
He wears all kinds of, you know, different just gaming t-shirts. He comes out on stage on everyone else is wearing a suit or a nice, you know, nice outfit, and he just comes out in t-shirt and jeans because that's how he rolls. So yeah, when he came out today I was like, what is that logo? I don't know what that is, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then I started seeing the tweets and stuff that it was, actually, in fact, a Battletoads shirt. So if you don't know what Battletoads is, God bless you. Number one, you're probably better off not knowing, but
you're about to do the best Google search you've ever done.
But for those who don't know, it's basically it's an old school. I think their first one was on the NES. The original Nintendo Entertainment System, and then there was another one later for the Super Nintendo, and it was a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you played as giant frogs, and you punched people, and it was notoriously difficult. It has a reputation for being incredibly, incredibly hard and unforgiving and just a pain in the butt to get through. I know me and my brother have one of the ones for Super Nintendo, and we can't get past like the third level, and we're actually not super crappy, but it's a challenge. Now rumors started getting thrown around earlier this year. Now this was a Rare, who Microsoft owns now. Rare used to make Banjo-Kazooie. They made GoldenEye, made some older stuff like that. Microsoft bought them, and they haven't really done a whole lot. They did like Viva Pinata. They did a lot of the Avatar stuff, but Rare has been, you know, a shadow of its former self. But rumors started getting thrown around when Microsoft had well, I can't remember. I guess they like re-engaged the copyright or something.
Yes.
Is that what it was on Battletoads, which made everyone think Battletoads was coming back, that there was going to be a next-gen reboot of Battletoads.
And then next thing you know, Phil Spencer is sneaking off to Rare headquarters.
Yeah, he went off to Rare headquarters and said that there was a revival of a classic Rare franchise being worked on. And so just all the signs seem to point towards Battletoads, and then Phil Spencer comes out today with a Battletoads t-shirt. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he would be one to just troll and, you know, make everyone think that, but you know, it's hard to say.
As far as I'm concerned, that is a straight up confirmed that's it. I mean, that is a nod to the gamers. That is, as far as I'm concerned, at E3, that is going to be hands down.
I mean, I hope so.
But
has he, in the past, has he worn any shirts that were for stuff that was not announced and then later went on to be announced? I don't know if he's ever done that.
I don't think so, but when you think about that, when you talk about this gimmick style bullcrap, like, I'm just reminded of the Halo 2 tattoo. Like, but
that was like a formal announcement. That was the release date. This was just a guy who's notorious for wearing video game t-shirts coming out wearing a super obscure video game t-shirt.
But
I mean, I'm with you. I think it's I think
it may just be a giant like joke, but I don't think that Phil would. I believe that was very strategically planned. Like,
it probably was. I think it's safe to say it's happening.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to watch because he is. I mean, yeah, he's an executive who wears t-shirts and hoodies, which is already fun to watch. But then, he wears. We talked about it earlier. He wears t-shirts that reflect whatever brands or games Xbox is trying to promote right now, and I just honestly feel like Battletoads will be a big deal this year.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll announce something at E3. I mean, I think it has a higher chance of existing than not existing, but I'm not 100% sold on it. I mean, if it's not, I think it would be a beautiful troll maneuver.
It would be a beautiful
troll maneuver for the ages.
Yeah,
to
but
to
I am
have all
putting.
of this build up and then nothing.
I will
But we'll
put money
see.
on the table, though. I think that E3 this year we are going to see it, for sure.
Yeah, we probably will. Now I like that we spent the past like 6 minutes talking about Battletoads
Yes.
at a Microsoft press conference when there was so much other stuff going on. So let's dive into some of the other stuff.
Yeah. So
Um,
the first thing, or was there something you wanted to touch on first?
Now, I mean, I was going to talk about, I think, probably one of the big things was, now, obviously, they're trying to integrate Xbox into Windows 10 a lot more than it is right now. I mean, one of those big things is actually streaming. You can stream Xbox games to your PC, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool feature. Now, the really cool feature is something that they say they're looking. This is not happening as of now, but they said they are looking at it, really thinking about it, trying to see if it would work. They want you to be able to stream PC games to your Xbox. Now, this is a big deal because of Steam and Valve and Steam machines.
Yep.
Now, the entire point of Steam machines was so that you could have something that you could stream things to, and you could kind of have a console, like a PC console, if that even makes sense, in your living room. It would be so you could stream games, you could play your PC games in a living room environment. Is one of the big selling points of Steam machines. Now, Steam machines are not out yet. They've been delayed. Their Valve Steam controller has been delayed. It's all delayed. And so for Microsoft to come out and show that that Windows 10 and Xbox One very likely will have that capability, and probably might even beat Valve out of the gate with it. That's a pretty serious blow, I think, and that's a pretty big talking point from the gaming perspective. That's Valve's been banking on that forever, and they haven't done anything with it. And here comes Xbox and Microsoft, and they're ready to go, almost right now, almost ready to go.
Yeah, as far as this is concerned, I talked about this a little bit on our previous week's patch notes. But as soon as Microsoft rolled out an app store several years ago, I think that was when they released Windows 8. Valve, Gabe Newell had a very, very quick and harsh response as far as he talked about his quote exactly was like, this platform is inferior. Steam is like out there looking out for the consumers, and this Windows platform is not going to be there for you. And I think to this day, Steam is still the king of PC gaming, but you are so right. So the streaming is one aspect, the cross-platform
that's really cool.
playability as well. I'm
if more
really
games support it, it's really cool. If more games support it, so far all we have right now is Fable Legends, I guess, is the only game that's going to be cross-platform play between Xbox One and Windows 10.
Yes, but as if you watch the press conference, they have a video. I think they uploaded just the video. That's basically like a sizzle reel of Xbox and Windows 10. I was seeing gameplay of Halo 5. I was seeing gameplay of Fable.
Did they play this when they were talking about like streaming or crossplay?
Remember, this is a sizzle reel, so it was all like computer graphic, an animated just clip. But they showed Halo 5 footage running on the computer with an Xbox One controller, like sitting to the side of it.
Well, he's probably streaming to the PC.
Yeah, well, and that could be the streaming portion of it. But they were not very clear on as to what games are going. I'm sure we'll hear more about that at E3, because we really don't know that much about Halo 5 outside of what's been revealed in the beta.
Halo used to be. Halo Combat Evolved did come out on PC and was actually a lot of fun. So, it's not unheard of for Halo to come out on computer.
I expect the first-party games to support that, and the third-party games to have, they're going to encourage them, but
yeah.
I would expect first-party definitely to be, maybe not 100% cross-platform compatible, but especially the flagship titles.
Now, this is interesting, though, because The whole point of having exclusives on a given console is so people buy your console. In this case, the Xbox One. So if you can also buy it on your free Windows 10 upgrade that you got because you own Windows 8, and then you can, buy Fable Legends on that. I mean, is that not shooting them in the foot a little bit, maybe? Now, this is like Nintendo's philosophy. Nintendo's philosophy is we don't want to put, Mario and all these games on iPhones and other mobile devices because that means people will not buy our mobile devices. They won't buy our 3DS. They won't buy our Wii U. That's, our ace in the hole is we have these games that you can't get anywhere else. And so they don't do it. And now, Microsoft, I feel that's a kind of similar thing, except Microsoft is apparently willing to treat Windows 10 as an extension of Xbox rather than as something that's going to be like cannibalizing Xbox's sales.
That's exactly right. You hit the nail right on the head as far as that's concerned. So it's no secret that Microsoft has struggled a little bit, not very much, but a little bit out of the gate with the Xbox. But
they struggled a lot. At the start.
I don't want to. At the start. I don't want to make it sound like they're in by no means a dire position. They're selling really well.
No, they're not.
Their competition is selling way, way better. The problem with this entire scenario is, and I'll be straightforward. Sony and Microsoft are fighting over the console market. When meanwhile, Valve is sitting over here with, I would say, arguably an equally large audience, and they're just basically reaping in the rewards, and it's really honestly a very hardcore gaming audience, which you think would gravitate toward a brand like the Xbox, that's very much super awesome, gamer focused. But and I think that Microsoft
PS4 is too. It's not like only Xbox that's doing it. I mean, the way you attract people. And the reason I think Xbox had a hard start is because they weren't selling it as a gaming system. They were selling it as an app device that you can watch TV on and you can do all these other things. And I think that hurt them. Yeah, but now that Spencer got into place, you've seen it change. You've seen it turn around, and they're back on gamers. Say the buzzwords, get everyone pumped. So they're kind of more on the right track now, I think. But
I mean, he's wanting to tap into that market that has thus far been dominated by a third-party company, by Valve, and they've seen an opportunity. Valve, we talked about it earlier, Valve has not released a game this past year, which is kind of discouraging and has caused a lot of dedicated Steam users to be going to other places because they don't need it right now unless PC is your primary console. So they're tired of not maximizing their market because the Sony, the PlayStation 4 is doing great, but that's it. That's all Sony has. Sony does not have a very strong television presence. They don't have a very strong computer presence. So all of, PlayStation Now, for instance, PlayStation Now, I highly doubt will be used by any other device than the PlayStation brand. They have it built into the Bravia TVs and all this stuff, but
yeah, and then the Vita will probably do something with it.
Yeah, and I think the Vita is still under that PlayStation blanket, but even the Vita is a very, niche audience who are attracted to that. But whereas Microsoft over here is sitting on a massive market share.
I mean, yeah, millions of people use Windows. I mean, and millions of gamers, because like earlier, Mac isn't really a gamer's platform. So all these people who are playing on Steam, they already have Windows installed on their computer.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I mean,
you think about it, when we think of games, some people don't want to go out and buy a $300 console to play games. If you remember, one of the earliest games that many people played on a digital platform was Solitaire, and the only reason we played it is because it came on the PC. And so, for some people, they don't care about owning a console, and so this is going to be a way for them to be able to easily get to games. Just imagine if you go buy your PC, and then you can download popular games like Minecraft and Fable, maybe Halo. You can download those on your home PC without having to go out and buy that. Now, I'm not saying for gamers that's not going to do much because gamers buy consoles. But what I'm saying is that from a marketing, from a business standpoint, they're diversifying. Will it cannibalize some Xbox sales? Probably. But at the end of the day, what's more important, selling the 100% maximum amount of consoles or having market share, having people dedicated to your brand, buying games on your brand, and then from there you can build them into, you can attach them to consoles or attach them to whatever. Yeah. But at this point, I think it's a decision of choice. Let the consumer decide what they want.
I mean, I think if Microsoft can open up that app store into something that, if that Xbox game store, you go on Xbox and you just buy games on demand. If they can just translate that to Windows 10, where you have another, place you can go to buy these games built into your OS instead of having to boot up Steam. I think that's a great idea. I mean, Phil even used Steam during the press conference. He even used Steam. I don't remember exactly what he was doing with. Oh, he was playing Sid Meier's or Civilization Beyond Earth. I don't remember what he was.
And that was when he was showing off the game DVR, which is really cool that it works. Yeah, I mean, game DVR, there were a couple features that he just kind of like went through, like game DVR, achievements for PC games. Like those are things that are all bundled in this Xbox app that they're rolling out with Windows 10. Cross-platform voice and text chat. That's really amazing.
I can 100% say we will use that a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And, I thought when they acquired Skype a couple years back that Skype would just become the new party system, that they would overhaul that, but they never did. But it's really cool to see that they're bringing basically game chat to the Windows platform. That's absolutely phenomenal because it's known for pretty good quality and pretty good reliability. So that's going to be exciting. But as far as as far as this, game DVR and these features, these are things that Xbox One gamers really enjoy.
Okay, now let's explain game DVR, because when you say DVR, you make me think I'm like recording my shows on my TV and I'm gonna go watch them later. So what exactly is the, like on Xbox One? What does that mean, game DVR?
So for traditional DVR, you know what's coming. You know that a show's coming up that you want to watch, so you set your DVR to record it. But with gaming, it doesn't work quite like that. You do something, and you're like, man, I wish I could save that. You get that triple kill, 3 headshots in a row, and you want to save that. So on the Xbox, you can actually record. It's constantly recording a rolling 30-second clip of what you've been playing. And so at any time, you can say, hey, record that, or press a key button, and it will record the last 30 seconds of gameplay footage, so you can kind of save those moments right after they happen. They're basically bringing that functionality to the PC, which is awesome. Kind of unheard of in the fact that like it even works for non-Windows.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Does it work for Xbox games, basically?
Yeah, it seems that it's going to work with most games,
that's really
even
cool.
games from
That's
Steam.
Really cool.
And because if you want to talk about reasons why Games for Windows Live failed, it was a sheer fact of if it didn't support Games for Windows Live, you had none of that functionality. Whereas now they're giving people options. You can use game DVR without the developer choosing to go with the Windows as a distribution. You can, or at least the Windows Store is the platform. You can, earn these. As far as achievements, I'm pretty sure that's going to have to be a Windows Store purchase for you to get achievements, because they have guidelines for that. But it's just really cool that they're thinking of Windows as a platform and not so much as a walled garden of if you're not in the Windows Store, then you don't get any of these
obviously
features.
You can record game footage and stuff now with it's not too difficult. You can download stuff to do that, and some games have it built in, but to have it like built into the OS where it's just like a few button clicks away and you can just record that clip of us playing Heroes of the Storm or playing Day of Defeat or just anything, and just have it easy and simple, and you don't have to like edit it. You don't have to go back through 2 hours of gameplay footage and, you know, cut out all that crap or find the specific point. It's just, you know, as soon as you do something cool, you're like, okay, cool, record, and, you know, it saves that segment. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and
I mean, that's convenient. It's easy. Like I said, you can do stuff you can record stuff now, but it's not just that simple, and it's not that, you know, intuitive.
Yeah, and even the game studio that you can use on the Xbox to trim your clips and share them with either your friends on Xbox or through social media, or save them to OneDrive for, you know, download later. That's coming as well. So, you know, when you talk about it's easy to record video clips on your PC, yes, it is. But if you wanted to get that to YouTube or share it with your friends, you would have to extract that video, find the one segment that you wanted to clip, you know, put it into a video editor, and then export and upload that, which for techie people might be pretty simple, but for someone who's never done anything like that, you know, may not even know how a video capture on the PC works. This is a great option for people to easily share those moments that they're looking for. And the more that you're going to see people sharing those Microsoft moments, it's going to do a great.
Let me repeat what you just said. Microsoft moments. Trademark.
Well, Microsoft wants to sell their brand. Moments. Listen, Microsoft wants to sell their brand. They want others to see people having fun using their. I mean, it's the same reason why iPhones sell so well.
Because you get those iPhone moments. I know, man. You don't have to tell me.
Anyways, that might have been a dumb thing to say, but
no, I'm just. It was just funny. It was just a funny phrase.
Yeah. But now you can, you know, if a kid does something fun in Minecraft, then he can share that. And if
those are called
if you get an epic Minecraft moments, yes, you got it, trademark each one. Boom, I've got them as we go. So we'll just start the blog and just, you know, highlight them all there. But overall, I mean, the Xbox app it's exactly what the PC needed to really bridge that gap between the Xbox and the PC.
I mean,
it looks like it's going to be fully featured.
A lot of it, though. Implementation's going to be important. Like, when is any of this supposed to? I mean, I guess it comes with Windows 10, which is coming out sometime later this year, right? Yeah. So
yeah, it's probably later this year, and we can always speculate, but I feel like a lot of that type of information is going to become much clearer at E3.
You think they'll talk about Windows 10 at E3? You think they'll talk about
I think they'll talk about the Xbox app, and I think they'll talk about how it's going to impact the Xbox as a whole. They said today that the Xbox will be running Windows 10.
See, that's interesting, because I mean, I guess right now it's running Windows 8, right? So, like, are they just going to...
Yeah, like a modified version.
Are they just going to, like, patch it? Just have a big system update and you'll be running 10?
Yeah, and there may not be any usability changes. Does that mean all those
squares are going to go away?
No, the squares are probably here to stay. So if you're looking for non-square interface, look elsewhere.
Now Windows 10, it's kind of gone, sort of.
It's a little. Well, I don't know, when they clicked that start button and then it was this big old wall of squares that came up.
The desktop looks less foreign than it at once did on Windows 8. It looks more like a normal desktop. So.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft is starting to figure it out. I feel like Windows 10 is probably one of the best releases that they've had. They are managing to keep just what people like, and everything else they're getting to basically gut and get it right this time.
Now, a big part of Windows 10, which is pretty cool, we didn't really talk about it that much. We touched on it, was Cortana is going to be like built into Windows 10. Which, yeah, Cortana is the personal assistant that you get on like the Windows phone that uses Bing. That's going to be like built into the desktop, which is pretty cool. And you can you can do voice commands, you can do all kinds of stuff with that. So that's a pretty cool functionality. And of course, it's named after Cortana from Halo. So as is their new web browser, which is named Spartan, which you would probably think would be from, you know, ancient Greece, but no, that's Halo 2. That is also a Halo reference. So yeah, what will they name next? Who knows?
Well, we're gonna get the Warthog.
If Microsoft made an actual car, and named it the Warthog.
I think
Microsoft should actually, all Microsoft employees like at Microsoft HQ, they should just drive Warthogs around. Like if you have to get from one side of the building to the other building, just drive the Warthog. Instead of a golf cart or something, you just drive Warthogs.
Hey, there you go. Perfect campus transportation.
I mean, that would be amazing.
You got it.
Who would not want to go there?
0% people would not want to be there.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, let's move on.
I think this is probably the other major thing we wanted to talk about, which is the HoloLens. Oh, I'm sorry, not the HoloLens. The HoloLens. They didn't actually name that after Halo, surprisingly.
Yes.
The HoloLens, yeah, so it's not VR, it's AR, which Nintendo's been doing forever. I got those AR cards when I bought my 3DS. It's basically the same, right? That's basically the same, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Tim. Let me share this. Let me share this right quick.
Because,
okay. Let me talk about.
If it ain't a holodeck, I don't know how interested I am in it. But there's definitely some cool stuff you can do with it.
This is the beta for the holodeck to come. But let me talk about HoloLens for a second, because I was watching this press conference as it happened, and when I was watching it for the Phil Spencer segment, and when he came up and he announced cross-platform Xbox, purchases, I was like, oh, dude, it's happening. Like, my dream is coming true of PC console nirvana. And I thought, okay, well, that's the end of the show. Okay, go ahead and announce the new update for Office and whatever else you're going to announce, and then let's wrap this up. But then they came out and they started talking about, virtual reality and things like that. And I was like, oh, are we going to see their VR headset? Now, if the Oculus is in the news a lot, but there are some huge problems that people have not considered on the Oculus. We get this sugar-coated news that talks about how amazing it is.
We're all going to live in a fantasy world and we're never going to escape. Was that one of the problems?
Yes, if you'd like to learn more, feel free to check out
The Matrix.
Sword Art Online.
Or Sword Art Online.
That's a light commentary on this. But no, when you're doing virtual reality, you are removing yourself from reality to create a new one. And so things like shared experiences, not going to happen anytime soon. Having those multiplayer moments on the couch with your family and friends,
those are obsolete. Those are obsolete. I don't need family anymore. I have virtual family.
You have kids. You have a girlfriend or
put on the
TV.
Put the TV on your face.
Yeah,
block
they're
them out.
completely removed from this experience. So that, and you can't see the controller, which isn't a big deal for controllers, but, if you're wanting to play that on a PC, you have to know your keyboard pretty well. These are things that just haven't been thought about yet, and everyone's so caught up in the splendor and the utopian thought of VR that we, don't stop to think that, hold on a second, there's actually a lot of, practical human problems with this.
It's definitely going to be one of those things where, I'm going to set aside a couple hours. I'm going to play my video games. I'm going to put my headset on. It's not going to be something I'm going to do at a party or a social gathering. Well, maybe. I don't know. But you actually definitely would maybe use the AR headset, the HoloLens, at when other people are around. Because it doesn't cut you off.
Exactly. And Microsoft is a smart company, and they saw what was happening. They saw Project Morpheus looks awesome.
Project Morpheus is Sony's VR headset, which is basically very similar to the Oculus. It's just a VR headset. It's very similar.
So boom, that's two people already in this very, very small market of people who would actually care about that. When you think about the grand scope of how far gaming's come, people who would actually want to strap a computer to their face, it's not, I would say it's less than 25% of people.
I don't know. We aren't very enthusiastic.
Are you going to buy it? Okay, let me ask you this. Are you going to buy that for $150?
Oh, no. I'm as a hardcore gamer as they come, but I'm not going to... Personally, it does not really interest me right now. I think there can be some really immersive experiences on that, but I'm not going to shell out $150 for it to strap a TV to my face. I'm going to wait for the technology to come more. So it's not exciting to me or you but I think it is exciting to a lot of people who want a TV
on
their face.
It is. What I'm saying is Microsoft saw that market already has a leader, and it rather than try and go dislodge them from that, because quite honestly, if there was a third VR headset, I'm pretty sure that would be developmental
everyone
hell.
expected it. As soon as Sony announced their VR headset, basically just everyone in the press was like, okay, when's Microsoft unveiling theirs? It was almost a given considering how everyone kind of copied each other last console generation with, you had the Wii, then Microsoft came out with the Kinect, then Sony came out with the Move, which was basically a Wii that had little glowy balls on the top. So the Kinect was now that I think of it, Microsoft did the same thing a couple years ago with the Kinect. Instead of doing motion control exactly how Nintendo was doing it, giving you like a separate controller and a camera or a sensor to track that controller, they instead did the camera that tracks your body movements and built things around that. Now the Kinect has a ton of problems, so this is not like it was not an amazing experience, but they at least tried something different, and that's exactly what they're doing here. They're not copying; they're doing something different.
Oh yeah, very different. Like, we've never seen anything quite like this, and it was really funny when they were talking about it because they bragged about how basically the creative labs that made it were underneath the visitor center. So it's almost this like, hey, you've been coming to this place, anytime you come and visit Microsoft, you go to the visitor center to check in. Well, while you've been checking in, we've been working for years on literally making the holodeck,
the secret government lab that is hiding under like the unknowing population.
Serious Resident Evil shit right here. But no, as far as the HoloLens, it's way too early to tell.
Now, what can you do with it? Like, what does it do? We say AR, but what is augmented reality? But what does that mean exactly?
So basically what it's going to do is you wear this helmet or this visor, and it is going to create digital assets in the environment around you. So we were talking earlier about how VR headsets cut you off from reality, whereas this you still see your room. But for instance, you walk into your kitchen and you've got a 30-year-old refrigerator that is just the oldest thing known to man, and we think about how cool it would be if, oh man, when I open up my refrigerator and close it, if I could have that screen in there that tells me, what the weather is today and, what my calendar looks like. Well, with augmented reality, that's there. Yeah, or I mean, like, how there's these refrigerators with like screens in them that can like tie into the internet.
Oh,
and
is there? I have no idea.
Speaking of this is literally. It is this buzzword that's going around right now, and it literally makes me want to pull my hair out because I hate this bullcrap. But it is the quote-unquote Internet of Things.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
At CES. No. Okay, so the Internet of Things is basically like stuff in your house, like your thermostat and your refrigerator and your light bulbs, and they're all connected to the internet so that you can control everything, like the smart home philosophy, which is cool, but the buzzword is just cringeworthy. I'm so tired of hearing it. They said it today at the press conference because they announced that giant like 40-inch touchscreen, which is basically like a giant Surface tablet, and they're like, this is a hub for everything, But anyways, that's a whole different rant. But basically, what augmented reality will allow is, rather than cutting you off and creating a new world, it's going to take our current world and add to it to create what we want.
So it lays things over whatever you're looking at through these like goggles, basically.
Yeah, one of the examples they showed is like someone was in their house and like they had like some TNT, some Minecraft TNT next to their like actual real wall, and it exploded, and behind the wall was a Minecraft world. And, it kind of like the wall kind of crumbled, and then they pulled the Minecraft world out and started playing in Minecraft, basically.
Oh, what?
Like,
can you actually do that? Can you actually just like play Minecraft AR?
Oh yeah, they showed like.
Now, was that working, or was that like a tech demo?
Well, everything at this stage is tech demo, but basically you're using your actual finger as the mouse, and they showed like one guy like looking at a Minecraft house and using his finger to add blocks to it, just like you'd have a model if you were building a model in your basement, like a giant model city, just like that.
Oh,
and
wow.
the really neat thing about this is that you don't have to take a lot of space usually to do this stuff. It's a pretty, I live in a small apartment. I could probably take advantage of a lot of these things. Whereas, if I actually wanted to build a giant model in my house, I wouldn't be able to do that. So augmented reality is a unique approach. And, it's cool to talk about all of the what ifs, but as far as gaming goes, just thinking about the ways that games can incorporate that kind of hurts my head. Because at the end of the day, since it's not VR, you can still look at games on your TV, or you could just have a blank wall and it could generate a TV on the wall for you. They showed that. It showed a guy walking into an empty room, an empty living room, and then Netflix popped up on the wall in a square that was generated by the headset. So that's a possibility. But dude, I would totally be down with walking through Minecraft. That would be really cool.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's not the holodeck, but it just like displays everything like a personal holodeck, kind of.
Exactly, because we don't honestly have the technology. When you think about this kind of stuff, you think like Jarvis from the Iron Man movie, from the first Iron Man movie, where he's like grabbing files out of thin air and things like that. We don't quite have the technology for that yet. But the helmet is a good place to start because it's basically creating your own augmented reality. We'll get actual, they called this the next PC. Like, this is what's beyond the PC, because a lot of people have asked, like, what's beyond the personal computer? It's not tablets.
Well, it's
not
wearable
computing.
computing.
Wearable computing's an approach to that, but it's not, at the end of the day, it can't replace computers, because I'm not going to type a Word document on a watch.
You're not going to type a Word document on your headset either, right?
Well, not in its current stage, but imagine if I have
an augmented reality keyboard.
Dude, you just strap the power glove on that's got the keyboard on it, and you type straight in like that.
The power glove is the future.
The future
was 1989.
Yeah, they finished that. We're done. That was the pinnacle.
We're only going downhill from there.
But no, what I mean is that this is a one-of-a-kind device. There's nothing else like it. It's not a Oculus clone. For now. I'm sure that... And this was hilarious. All right, if you watch that press conference, I believe it was Phil Spencer. It might not have been Phil. I can't remember who it was, but someone who was talking about it was like, we encourage everyone to come and learn about this and start incorporating it into your apps, because they said all Windows 10 apps will be able to exist in augmented reality.
What does that mean?
So this thing is already fast-tracked for Windows 10 release, but they even said, Oculus, we encourage you to come and learn. Like, they subtly challenged, and they said, we think our solution is something you should pursue as well, not just virtual reality, because there are huge problems that no one, like, you wonder why it's been 2 years and we still haven't seen a consumer release of Oculus, because right now
that they've been working on it. Now, part of the reason they accepted that whole Facebook buyout is so they could get it out sooner than, because like Oculus was not a company that Microsoft has pools of money. Oculus was a startup. So like they don't have the resources, or they didn't have the resources to just kind of like go full speed ahead with this stuff.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, theoretically, if Oculus was perfected, the technology as far as like zero latency, it didn't have any kind of delay, it looked real. If it were to come out tomorrow, people would pick it up and they would start to realize, wow, actually VR is a horrible idea, and I don't want to cut myself off from my family and my friends while I'm playing video games. I don't actually like it's those fundamental issues we were talking about earlier that I feel are going to hold it back. Now, Microsoft's trying to kind of circumvent that by allowing you to engage with your friends and family while you play these games. I mean, theoretically, the whole family could wear this headset.
Now, let's. I'm going to use two examples. Example number one is Google Glass. which is kind of what this is the most similar to, I would say. Where Google Glass, you could do different things, record video. It had like a little overlay. So you're wearing these glasses that lets you do computer stuff. So this is kind of what the AR, what the HoloLens is. But no one likes Google Glass. No one. Didn't they stop making it? Aren't they done with Google Glass? I think.
No. Well, they've stopped selling the preview version of it, so you can't buy the preview edition anymore. But I think that Google Glass and this are fundamentally, like, yes, they are things you wear on your head to have some kind of digital input. But Google Glass is created to be something you use all the time, and it's like your smartphone. You reference it to get like specific tasks done, but it's designed to be there throughout your entire day. Now, the problem with Google Glass is it has a camera, and people were not ready as a society to deal with the fact that everyone would be wearing cameras all the time.
Even though you have one in your
Google
phone.
Glass in and of itself is a flaw. Like, it's a flawed technology that I would honestly say would never exist outside of maybe San Francisco or a very tech savvy and tech comfortable community.
They'll probably revamp it or something.
Well, yeah, they'll revamp it, hopefully remove the camera and get things rolling on that. But this device specifically is something where you are designed to sit down and use it, but it's not ripping you away. I do not expect people to wear these all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would
even if they were to put it in glasses. Like, I don't think that it's something Microsoft wants people wearing all the time. Because at the end of the day, as technologically advanced as we get, we still understand the fact that, like, we're going to want to pick up a book and read a physical book. We're going to want to sit down and do things with our families. We're not going to want to do everything online. So I think it's important to have something like this where you have a set start time and a set end time. Just like when you sit down at a computer, you have to engage in that activity, and then you remove yourself from that activity and it doesn't follow you around. Google Glass, the issue with it is that you can't go without, like, you can't have a camera on your head all the time. You can't exist as a human in society
people have
and do that.
On their phones and stuff. That's just a phone pull away. I mean, I think it was a little bit overblown, but I understand why there was some reaction to it. But that was just example one.
Well, you can't go to movies. You can't go to movies.
True.
You make people around you uncomfortable. It's one of those things that's just like when you record me with your phone, there's some kind of action. There's a start and an end.
Now, part of it was that people were, even though it's kind of noticeable, people were afraid that these, you're just wearing something that looks like regular glasses and you can be recording people. Whereas if you're holding your phone out and pointing it at someone, it's probably safe to assume, oh, they're recording me. But with Google Glass, it was much more subtle. It was you're walking around with a pair of glasses that can be recording everything. So I think that was what it was. But that was example one. Example two is, this is the company that made the Kinect. So you are assuming that this AR stuff is going to work like it's supposed to. We know from experience with the Kinect that the Kinect still doesn't work like it's supposed to. It's much better now than it was on the 360. The Xbox One Kinect is much improved, but it still is not a perfected technology. It still can't detect your movements like you want. It can't detect your voice. It has trouble hearing you. I mean, so I'm just saying, I mean, you're very optimistic about this, obviously. And I think that as cool as I think it is and that there's potential there, we have to remember, like, the kind of technical aspect of it, that, like, how will this technology work? You were mentioning with Oculus, if they perfected it, if there was zero latency, if they ironed out some of these problems that they have with it right now. But what about the AR headset? I mean, I don't even know what kind of problems you would have, but I imagine there's a lot of them. In terms of, if you're displaying Netflix on the wall, for example, to watch a movie instead of turning on your TV, what's the quality? What's the picture quality? It's probably
now, they did say it was an HD. Well, they did say it was an HD quality, like, visuals that are being created, and they did demo it, and they showed a real life person, like, the demos are not. But it's really interesting you bring up Kinect. I think that they are going to successfully avoid the issue that they ran into with Kinect, and let me tell you what that issue was. When Kinect came out, they came out with a version 1.0, and they said, this is it, guys. This is the best. This is the bee's knees. Like, Kinect came out, and next thing you knew, every game basically had some kind of Kinect tie-in. They basically went all in. And you're right, the technology was not
You just flailed
great.
around. It couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it didn't really do anything. The coolest thing it ever did were voice commands, which could have been achieved the same
I was
with a
super
headset.
excited to play Steel Battalion with the Kinect, where I could use all my, you're in the cockpit of this mech and you can use all your motion controls. You just move your arms to pull the levers and shoot the cannons and all this stuff. And it was a mess. It's probably, now part of that Steel Battalion was just bad. Steel Battalion Heavy Armor, I think is what it was called. It was just bad. But another was the Kinect didn't know what the hell I was doing. I couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
All I wanted to do was turn my flashlight on. I wanted to turn my head beams on, and I couldn't do it. I struggled for like 10 minutes to do that one thing, and my dad was sitting there watching next to me, and he's like, wow, this is really dumb. And I was like, yes, Father, it is really dumb. It is really dumb that this piece of hardware that I purchased does not work properly. So... And yeah. I don't want that to happen with the AR headset. I don't want it to come out and, you be trying to play in your Minecraft world in the AR setting, and it's just like a mess.
Yeah, now, if that's the case, then so be it. Like, Microsoft will probably get just like hit really hard for it, and then it would seriously undermine everything. But I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, simply because it's a whole new team. Like, the people who launched Kinect are all gone. Like, executive, like, even, like, top tier and then the tier right below it. They're all gone. This is a whole new team. They've been working on this for a lot longer than they were Kinect. And they already have, I think it's a much more manageable expectation right now that I put on this helmet and the experience is contained in my head.
If they're going to make it work, they're going to have to be dedicated to it. Like, they're going to have to be very dedicated to it. And I think, as we've seen with the Kinect, now I think it's good in this case that they weren't dedicated to the Kinect, because they've kind of since dropped it for Xbox One, and it's not really an essential feature anymore. But, like, they can't do that with this. They can't do that with this headset thing. They can't pour all these resources into their answer to VR and it fizzle out and not work properly and be lackluster. Like, they just can't. They can't afford to do it. It'd be a disaster.
We'll see. I'm not going to judge them or say that what if this fails, because I think that everyone in that industry right now has the equal opportunity of failure. I think Project Morpheus can fail just as hard. I think Oculus can fail just as hard. And so but I'm going to choose to give them the benefit of the doubt. On paper, I will say I think that the Microsoft approach, the augmented reality hologram approach, I think it's I can actually see that working on a large scale. Virtual reality is something very, very niche, and I would not really ever want to do that
right now. It's niche
right now. And so if they come up with new ways to kind of invigorate that and change that a little bit, I think it'll be great. Facebook will.
You can live in Facebook. Doesn't that sound exciting?
No, it doesn't. I don't want to live in people's political opinions and pictures of their vacations.
You can live there. Become one.
Don't want to do that.
With the beach photos.
But the other aspect about this is that they're managing the expectations as far as they're not saying that in 2 years this is all you're going to have. Like, they know better than that. Like, there are people.
Did they give like any estimate as to when HoloLens would be coming out?
They said Windows 10 timeframe.
So this year.
So
that's That seems crazy. How long have they been working on this? You said they've been working on it.
They said they've been working on this for years. They've been working on it for
how many years?
I believe it was 5 to 6 years.
Well, here we go. We'll see.
They've been involved with the Mars rover mission from the start. So that's
true.
That was a big part of what they talked about. But and they said that all the Windows 10 applications are going to support this, augmented reality. So we really can't pass much judgment on this until we actually use it, because today it was mostly just like tech demos. There was no actual like hands-on experience that a lot of people got with it.
I know that some people did strap it on. I know several people, like, they demoed it for press people. They strap.
Yeah, but only they can share those experiences.
It's not. It wasn't. Obviously, it's not done yet. But
yeah, I think that it's going to be something like and this is a weird comparison, but I think it's going to be something like the 3DS. Like when the 3DS came out, they said you can't see this effect on camera. You have to experience it. And I could go to the store, I could pick up the 3DS, I could try it out and see it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. The problem is that, people don't really use it. They're trying to fix that with that. We already talked about this, but it's a technology like that. People have to buy into it by using it and experiencing it. It's not something that I can.
It's going to be hard to understand without putting it on your face.
But I have to say that if I can put a helmet on my face this November and get my Master Chief HUD.
I mean, it's not a helmet. That's different. Let's call it a visor, because helmet implies you're strapping a TV to your face like the Oculus, but it's not. It's much less intrusive, or not. I guess intrusive maybe isn't the word, but it's not all encompassing like the headsets are. It's like a visor thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, jumping back to Halo cliches, like I think about all the HUDs for my game in my visor. And then just the game on the TV.
What if your life had a visor? I'm sorry, your life had a HUD. What if it could tell, it had a hungry meter and it told you when you were hungry?
Well, with the Microsoft Band strapped to your wrist, it'll tell you your heart rate.
Exactly. There you go. It's all coming together.
All right. The end is near. The
world domination complete.
We should. Yep, it's almost there. But no, as far as technology is concerned, it was the first piece of new technology I saw in a very long time that kind of gave me goosebumps, chill bumps, as far as like, ooh, man, the potential there is so great. Now, will they let me down? Maybe. But will they knock it out of the park? Equal amounts of maybe, and that to me is exciting.
I'll say as someone who isn't normally very excited about technology announcements, like to me, technology basically exists to play video games on. I'm not a super tech savvy guy. I don't care about, I don't even have a smartphone, just so you know. I don't have a smartphone. I'm pretty low tech in that regard, but I did, watching the AR announcement, watching the HoloLens, there's definitely some interesting applications there. I will say it gave me pause and be like, wow, there's some pretty interesting things you can do this. To walk around to not control another character and walk around, a virtual environment, but to be that character, to be the person who is walking around this virtual environment. And just from a pure gaming perspective, that's really fascinating. And that's pretty exciting if they can nail the technology, which I'm at least at this point a little skeptical about, but we'll see. I think that about wraps it up, though. We probably ranted a lot longer than we needed to about all this stuff, but
this is exciting stuff. This is exciting, like next generation of not just gaming, but like technology stuff. So definitely check out the press conference if you want to hear about everything. There was a lot of stuff there. As far as Fanboy Explosion is concerned, make sure to keep it glued to www.fanboyexplosion.com for all the newest stuff as soon as it's available.
Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter at Fanboy Explosion. Something else we haven't been talking about, but we do have an email address, fanboyexplosion@gmail.com. Please send us questions or comments. We are open to that. We'll answer appropriate questions.
I'd love to have like a Q&A session, maybe on every week's patch notes or something. Have a little answer some questions. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, send them in. I would say that there's not a lot of questions that I wouldn't tackle head on. I can't speak for Cameron.
Don't say that. Don't
say
that.
Bring them on, baby.
You're asking for trouble, man.
Bring them on, baby. But anyways, follow us on Twitter at Fanboy Explosion. Subscribe on iTunes. If you want to follow us personally, my personal Twitter is at Darth Turner.
And you can follow me at COK Gamer.
Boom. So thanks so much for coming and listening to us talk for a little bit, and we will see you next time.
Have a good one.